My favorite shows gotta be The Wire, Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Snowfall. And the fifth, we can give it to Better Call Saul, something like that. But I want to take a moment to focus on Snowfall. Snowfall is probably one of the most amazing shows I'm seeing in the last years, and technically never had a bad season. Never took their feet off the gas pedal, bro. Great stories, great characters, and even sometimes when they dropped the ball, they found a way to pick it back up and do something different with the whole play. Now we know the story is supposedly based on Freeway Ricky Ross, but I think they had a lot of liberties. I mean, you can tell. Characters like Jerome. Jerome is by far one of my favorite characters. I mean, they got a lot of great characters in the show, but Jerome is one of my favorite characters. So dynamic. I mean, he's a man, but he also sensitive. Like, they didn't just make this cliche macho man that don't feel anything. Like, this man had feelings. He had beautiful and passionate moments. And this is why this video is going to explain why I think Jerome, Jammin' Jerome, was the true kingpin. Now, to tell this story and to make my point, we seen the show, so we understand the main character is Franklin Saint. We understand the one that had the plug is Franklin Saint. We understand the man behind the plan. The guy that was always keeping this organization going was Franklin Saint. But from a street level view, a lot of things wouldn't be able to keep going or become as big as they were if it wasn't for certain attributes. And one of those had to be Jammin' Jerome. Jerome was one of the only characters that had street cred before The Rock. He also had street cred without being tied to any specific gang. He was just a solid dude. These dudes came from the 70s, they was respected. They helped order the neighborhood, and they didn't really have an opinion about none what was going on. They just was the nigga everybody else wanted to be. They either had the girls, they had the wealth, they had the cars, and they ain't have a problem sharing a little bit with the neighborhood. So nobody actually wanted to beef with niggas like that. They was reliable. Any good hood got a nigga like that, he's solid. He may slang a little bit, but he out the way. You fuck with him. You always know you can go get a cigarette from him. You can go get some bill from him. You can get a quick laugh from him. He was always doing something cool and player, so niggas wanted to leave him alone. I mean, he keep the hood looking good. He had a house on the block. If you think about it, Jerome was perfect for what Franklin was trying to do. That's why he picked him first. Not just because he was his uncle. Franklin was a little bit more smarter than that. He knew he couldn't do what his uncle can do. Convince people to go with the flow. Most of all of the plugs, different people that was able to move the money and even the guns and the different weapons they was able to get their hands on came from Jerome. Yeah, he wasn't a drug guy, but he was the guy that made everything feel legitimate. Jerry curl, big stature, even though in real life the guy that played Jerome was pretty short, they had a beautiful way of depicting him as a big figure every time he was on camera. He had a way of moving and people had to work around him. He never moved too crazy. He always took up space in any scene he was in. And I think they was suddenly telling you how everybody viewed him. He was the big guy. In the hood, he was the big guy. You gotta think about it this way. Jerome had the big wedding, not Louis. It was Jerome that had the big fourth. I know that's not in order, but you'll picture it as I'm saying it. He had the times that the neighborhood, the people, was able to see him do things. And Jerome had the proper death. See, Jerome represents the birth and the death of the Saints organization. About time Jerome died, the organization was over with. They was beefing with themselves, civil war. Now, from the show standpoint, we get it was Franklin, then Leon, then Jerome, then Louis, and then Louis became brains just like Franklin. And we understand that Leon is muscle and the street dude, but we try to paint Jerome as the muscle or the street dude, but he's neither. He was the king. They kept a lot from him because if he found out, him just not being there will affect it. Think about it. This man don't come with plans. He's not a strategist, excuse me. His presence was important. He literally was the king. And these two, Franklin Saint and Louis, was always trying to make sure they had him on their side. Now, I wish he would have made better decisions in the later season to put Louis in her place, because that was the problem that was getting between him and his nephew. His nephew been ambitious, something he always knew. He always knew he had to distance himself from his nephew to have a relationship with his nephew. If that makes sense to you, you understand. If it don't, my apologies. But sometimes you gotta bag off just to get close to somebody. And I think Jerome understood that. He didn't want to compete. He had all the money he needed. What he was saying to Louis when he proposed was, I want to get back to me because I thought that's what we was in this for. To build legitimate businesses. But Louis sparked the water because she was really in it for power. None of them was really trying to get. I mean, Franklin already had it. And Franklin understood about power is power always going to have somebody else over you with more of it. Which made him understand that this game is a lose-lose if you're trying to play it how he was playing it. Franklin was trying to get out, but by the time he realized this, he had already destroyed everything with his ego. And sometimes once you destroy things, the people that linger around are the people that just affected. Louis was infected. Jerome was distracted. But if Jerome would have just stopped and moved away, he could have saved everybody because his presence was the most valuable thing he had. Everybody fought for Jerome's presence. You got to pay attention to it. You got to understand how heartbroken Leon was when he came back and Jerome, of all people, said that we're not family. You understand how difficult it was for Sissy, for her younger brother, to resent her. Even though she didn't like his girlfriend, she always wanted to be around her brother. You can see it in the earlier seasons. Jerome was the true king. And that's how the hood seen it. So if you kind of follow the story and see the ending results of Franklin, it was going to be that way without Jerome. Because that's who Franklin always was. He was his dad. His dad never had a Jerome. Somebody who energy and just life and just aura is so big, it forces you to kind of be a stand-up guy. You got to think about it. Earlier seasons, Franklin was always around Jerome. That's how he got that will and that zeal to go out and do something different. He always had the ability, the mindset, to do anything he wanted to do, like his dad, but it was his uncle that gave him the I can do it type of attitude. Jamin Jerome wasn't just the heart of the show, and I knew when they killed his character, the show was officially over. He wasn't just the heart. He was the king of the Saints organization. And if you go back and look at the episode, in subtleties, you'll see the respect that was given to him by everybody that was street-level characters, including Scully, and including Kane, Jamin Jerome. Hey man, if you like these little analysis on characters, please comment below, let me know what you think. I know I'm a little eccentric and a little different, but I do want to try this, man. I'm really into shows and I'm really into characters. And I feel like I got a different way of explaining characters that maybe some people don't see. But I'm interested in your thoughts, so comment below.